Hello everyone, Strong Mom here, and I'm finishing the story about empathy. My husband was yelling at me because our youngest had a fever and was crying, and my husband was yelling at me and telling me that it was because of how I am as a mother that our children feel the need to get attention in this way. And while my husband was yelling at me, I would calmly say, "Hey, hun, here's what the thermometer says. I think they're sincere. I think this is a real situation. Look, I mean, wouldn't you as a father want to know that your children are okay? I mean, let's go double check at the doctor at the hospital first, and then, let's hear what they have to say. They're the experts." And my husband would say, "I don't need an expert. I know what I'm talking about." And so I felt that I needed to do something. And even though my husband was threatening me, if I took our child to the doctor, I said, "Look, I don't have time for this. I think our child needs help now. You could do whatever you want to me when I get back." So I took our youngest and I ran to the car and I raced to the hospital. Come to find out, our youngest has pneumonia and it's really bad. So when I told my husband that our child had pneumonia, no apologies on his part at all. Just, "Oh, wow, really? Okay." As if like the doctors in the hospital are making stuff up. And then later when I brought our youngest home and they were released from the hospital, that's how bad it was. My husband was, I sat down with my husband and I said, "Aren't you glad now that I took our youngest, even though you thought they were pretending?" And he said, "It wouldn't have been my fault if you didn't take them." And I said, "But you were yelling at me not to take them." And my husband said, "Yeah, but it would have been your fault if you didn't take them. So it wouldn't have mattered if you did or didn't." I mean, what kind of thought process is that? It wouldn't have mattered if I did or didn't. Well, first of all, our child would have been so sick they probably would have died. I think, yeah, it would have mattered. And I can't comprehend this thought process. No responsibility on his part for having yelled at me and threatened me to not take our child. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. So this is the kind of thing that I dealt with. Another time, I could not move, and I had just finished grocery shopping, and both of our children were smaller, and so they can't really help me. They're in the car, and I managed to call my husband and say, "Oh my God, I need help. Can you come help me?" And he said, "No, I'm not going to help you. You don't need help. You're just making stuff up." And I'm like, "No, I need help. Our children are here. We're far away from home. Please help me." And he said, "I'm not helping you. I'm not going to do that because that's just going to encourage this behavior on your part." "Really?" And I said, "Dude, I need help. I'm in so much pain and I'm broken. I can't move." He said, "Call 911." And I said, "But if I call 911, you're going to yell at me because it's too expensive to call 911. And he said, "You know what? You're doing a great job pointing out why you shouldn't call 911 and why you should get your act together and you should come home." I mean, day in and day out of behavior like that. Another thing is one of our children had or has ADHD. And, they need medicine for that. They need help. And my husband refused to even let that child be seen by a doctor or a professional for help in that regard. And the school would call us and tell us, "Hey, your child is having problems." And my husband would ignore them. And I'm like, "Look, the school is saying we have problems. We need to do something." And my husband would say, "You just need them to have ADHD because that somehow makes you feel like you're a better mother. You need them to be dependent on you." I'm like, "No, they're having difficulty in school. They can't process the information that's being given to them. They can't sit still. Obviously, something is wrong. Let's just take them to a regular doctor, and we'll just see." And my husband would tell me, oh, you're just such an expert, you know everything. And I would say, no, I don't know anything. And that's why I would like to take them to the doctor. If it is something, we can do something about it. And if it isn't something medical, then, we can also do something about it. Then I can address the fact that my child doesn't have a learning disability or any other disabilities, and that they're just, it wasn't misbehaving, but lack of focus, maybe not trying, and really pinpoint whatever it was that needed to be addressed. It didn't change that thought process until the school had a meeting and sat us down and said, look, your child needs help. At which point in the meeting I said, look, this man won't let me take my child to anyone for help. And that was the moment that he was like, oh, no, it's just for finances. I never said that, she can't do that. I never said. Because now he's embarrassed, right? So it wasn't until that moment of embarrassment that I even had maybe the opportunity to get my child checked. But even then, he refused to let our child be taken to the doctor even after that meeting. And then changed the tune of what he was saying to, well, we just don't have money, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to allow you to do it. We don't have money. If my children are not getting the medical attention or assistance or help that they need because someone feels that they know everything, someone wants to be in control of everything, that's abuse, Those are just, a couple of examples, several examples, but it went on and on. No empathy, no consideration for what we need, like really need, medical-wise, medication-wise, because he felt that every little thing that happened to us was fake. Everything that happened to us, we were pretending just so that we could have attention. Which is ironic because that's all that my husband, craves is attention. The moment he walks in, you have to say, hey, how you doing? Oh my God, you're wonderful. You're great. You're amazing. What did you do today? And then it's nonstop talking about himself, right? But will not ask how we're doing, doesn't want to know, doesn't care, my goodness. And yet I fell into this situation by not seeing that that's who he was and justifying it with, oh, he's busy. Oh, he didn't really mean that. Oh, he's just tired. Oh, he's having a bad day. But you know what? After 20 years, that's a lot of bad days. There's a track record there, and it's nothing to do with him just being a normal human being that had a moment. That's how he is all the time. So if you are in a relationship and they have no empathy towards you or anyone, or only seem to show it, like that situation with my child at school, when there's an audience, you need to maybe do something about that relationship and preferably run away because it's not going to get better. And, I sat around and hoped that it would, and it never did. And that's, one thing that I have to live with as far as the choices that I made in life. But hoping that my story will help you out in your journey. And this is just me putting it out there. And if it's helpful, great. And I hope you have a blessed day.